Now, The Catalyst, with Christopher Dent.
This is The Catalyst, and I am Christopher Dent. The Catalyst is a podcast which highlights forward-thinking, community-minded people and organisations. Please like and follow us on Facebook at The Catalyst. If you'd like to share some feedback or have anyone you think we'd like to interview, please email us on thecatalyst@outlook.com.au. Today on the show, we have Victorian Netball League Division 1 player, Murrumbeena Football Netball Club Best and Fairest, dual Best and Fairest winner, and club captain Paris Tatter. Thank you for joining us today, Paris.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Happy to be here.
With the pandemic, how are you? I know you're a very athletic person and always like keeping busy. How hard has it been to keep busy with the lack of netball at the moment?
Oh, super hard. Just during this time, I've just been really doing a lot of family time, so spending time with mum, dad, and Bridge. We're really right into our board games with family, so that's been taking up a lot of our time. But otherwise, just trying to do fitness as much as I can, like just in the backyard by myself or running around the block just to see what can fill in the time. It's so hard without having others around you.
No, I agree with you 100%. The being active is a tough thing, just getting home and just saying, I couldn't be bothered. But no, being active is the hardest thing, especially being around people all the time and not having that at the moment. I've actually heard something that you've branched out from your netball at the moment, and you've been helping out with an Auskick program. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, definitely. So it's actually run by my boyfriend down at Ormond Football Club. So basically what it is, it's called Fair Go Footy, and it's giving kids who have a disability or maybe a learning delay like a fair go at football. So we go down on a Saturday morning to E-Gun and we teach them how to kick, handball, we play some games with them.
Yeah.
Really fun. They enjoy it so much and they absolutely love it. Their parents love it. I love it. So That's what I'm doing on my Saturday mornings before netball.
Wow, that sounds like a fantastic program. I wouldn't have known that happened. So that is really good you're being part of that, and that is actually out there for those kids. So that's fantastic for the community to know that. So thanks for sharing that with us. Also, you were born in East Bentley in 1998. Mum and dad, Pauline and Rod, and your younger sister, Bridget. Which schools did you attend?
Yeah, I'm definitely a local girl, East Bentley, and lived in three houses here my whole life. I went to St Peter's Primary School just on Centre Road from prep to year 6, and then I went to high school at Ulsh as well, from year 7 to year 12.
Yep. Oh, fantastic.
So that was really good.
Yep. So when you started netball, what can you remember in those early days, those first days of netter, I'm assuming you started at?
Yeah, so down at Dales Park, it was, so you'd leave your house in your little netter skirt and your top, and you'd be all excited, and you leave the house at 10 degrees. You get down to Dales Park, it's 0 degrees, freezing cold, but it didn't really matter because you were so excited. Probably mattered to mum and dad, who had to get up at 8 in the morning to take me there because it was that cold, but, prompts to mum and dad for taking me. But just all excitement in the younger years. I was so happy to just be playing a sport. Netball was the first sport I ever played other than swimming, so I was really excited.
Yeah, those cold, foggy mornings, I remember them well. Those the competition at KDNA, you progressed through the ranks through from netter into under 11s and then all the way through open age. Can you just give us share some experiences from that?
Yeah, so I played at St Peter's through all my domestic years. I was I'm 6 foot tall, so I wasn't 6 foot tall back then, but I was always putting goals or defence. I was never mid-quarter. That's where I was always put in my junior years. I just remember down there we had such a good team from under 13 to 15. Your niece, Leora, was in that team as well, yeah. And it was just a great time to be alive playing then because I think we won 6 flags in a row. Most of those girls I was then playing with at ref level as well, and we were just smashing it. We had a bunch of coaches. We didn't have the same coach the way through, and all of them were willing to take us. on board, and we were smashing. I think Assumption were one of our biggest rivals back then, and then your Marambina team came along.
Yep.
Really good memories from down there.
No, I did. I've some good memories. Hard games against you guys. I think we were a year or two younger, and coming up against you guys, which I rank as probably number one or two best teams I've ever seen down there. And coming up against you guys made our team so much better, and that competition was great to have. And like I said, it was really good, nice, vibrant competition, and very very strong. So, you just spoke about your netball with the representative netball at Kingston. What did it feel like with your first selection and getting selected? And I'm not sure if you did make it the first time you actually went for trials.
Yeah, no, I didn't. So I first tried out at the end of year 6 as a goaler back then, so a goal shooter, and I didn't get in. I'm not even sure if I made it past the first round. And I was pretty gutted. I was really upset. And then I gave it a few years because back then I was pretty unco and really tall and just growing too fast for me to coordinate my body. Yeah. So then I tried out again in end of year 8 going into 2013. And yeah, I got in and I was so excited. I made the ones for rep and I was so happy. I had a really good rep team and a really great coach that year, and I was just really happy to be a part of it. And that's when I had to make a decision in my netball career because I was going to be playing rep, which was going to take up a lot of my time. And I was also doing swimming 4 to 5 times a week. So I made the choice to stop swimming, cut it back to 1 day a week, but then I had to stop it altogether because it was getting too much. Yeah. And then I was pursuing my netball. So I chose netball, yeah.
Yeah, so with the representative netball, which is played at the Waverley Netball Centre, you played tournaments as well. What are the best moments you can remember back at the tournaments and also playing it at Waverley?
So with the tournaments, definitely always cold, always raining. I can't really remember a funny tournament except when we used to go up to Mildura for rep. Otherwise, we were always huddled under a blanket in the marquee, freezing cold. Someone was blasting weird music. You had heaps of good snacks and lollies going around. So I love that part of it. The tournament itself is just quick. It's a different game of netball, really. Like you're playing 7-minute halves. It's super quick. Everyone's bringing their A game because you only have those 15 minutes to prove yourself on the court. So yeah, I love tournaments. Probably the best one we won was Caesar tournament in under 15s with Rob, and then we made it to a state thing after that. That was incredible feeling.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I understand the tournaments. I feel the snacks between the games. It's really good bonding for the girls and the teams, and that's a great time of it. And also, it's a very dynamic game, tournament netball, because you're on and off, and you have to prove yourself every game. So, no, I agree with that. We're talking to a local netball star, Victorian Netball League Division 1 player, Paris Tatter. In those early years, playing netball at KDA, which teams? I'm assuming you only played with the one team throughout, but did that change a lot with the teams you're playing, personnel in the teams at St. Peter's?
Yeah, so I played with St. Peter's all the way through. I'm a pretty loyal person like that. If I choose a club, I'll normally stay with it. So I played with St. Peter's the whole way through. I had pretty much the same team from when I was in under 13 to almost 17, so that really good team, and then everyone sort of fizzled out after that, and I still continued on to Opens, where I played with 3 of my coaches now who have coached me in that team, the 2 Fredrickson sisters and Nicole L'Oreal, our president.
Yes.
But it's a great club. I love St. Peter's. The competition down there is just so good because you know everyone you're playing against, really, which is kind of a good community feeling when you're down playing at Dales Park. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, I agree. You've had, we're just talking about your playing personnel you've played with, but you've had many coaches over the journey. How have they shaped you as a player and person?
Yeah, so they've all definitely shaped me into the player I am today. The good coaches and the bad coaches as well, because you have to learn from the bad ones. I'm lucky enough to be coached by my dad for most of my junior years, which works really well. It doesn't work well for everyone. It works for me and my dad. I know it works for you and Holly. Yep. But we definitely have a good relationship in that he's super supportive, and I tend to listen to what he says, 98% of the time. But yeah, no, I'm really lucky to have him. But probably like my favourite coach that I've ever had is my first rep coach, which was Rob Whitaker.
Yeah.
I loved Rob. He had so much belief in me. And my skills were really raw when it came to rep. And he taught me everything I needed to know. And I was a goaler back then, but the stuff he taught me, I still carry on through my netball life today. And I'm so grateful for him. And if I see him, like I always make sure I go up to him and just let him know, hey, Rob, I appreciate you.
No, Rob's a fantastic coach and very enthusiastic and loves coaching and like you said, he's a really good. So it's his technical side of his game is fantastic. So I understand exactly coaching against him as well. So with your mentors and the coaches and things, people you look up to, do you have mentors and to source advice from? For work, sport and life in general?
Yeah, definitely. Probably my dad he's my number one fan, number one supporter in life. I definitely go to him for advice, and these days, because I'm a little bit older, I'm sure he's coming to me for advice as well. But he's such a netball dad. He had 2 girls, so he was involved in the netball world. I'm sure if he had boys, he'd be in the footy world, but netball is the path that's taken him.
Yep.
I think he's a really good coach.
Yes.
He's just so knowledgeable, and he's great to go to for advice. Not only that, but like him and my other coaches have sort of taught me about like how important mental health is on the court. So if you're not okay off the court, you're not going to be performing at your best. So that's why I think a really good pre-game routine is important when you're playing netball. So like making sure your teams are warming up well together and you're super supportive of each other. So that's like something definitely all my coaches have taught me throughout my
definitely.
life.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. Rod, your dad, amazing coach, amazing man, and like he's one of my mentors. So it's good that you can understand your dad, and it's hard to sometimes differentiate between car coaching and real coaching. But like you said, I'm lucky enough. My daughter, I've coached her for a long time, and it seems to work. So let's, if you could stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back after the break with our segment, The Top 3. Welcome back. We're talking to local netball star, Victorian Netball League Division 1 player, Paris Tatter. Now we go into our segment, The Top 3 Go-To Movies. Paris, what's your top 3 of your go-to movies, especially with this pandemic that's going on? I'm assuming you've been watching a few movies and series and things. What's your number 3 top movie?
Number 3 would be Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I always used to watch this movie when I was homesick from school or injured, potentially, from netball. Just on the couch watching Ferris wag school. So don't wag school, but great movie.
No, absolutely. Number 2, what's your number 2 of your top 3?
Bit of a rom-com, 10 Things I Hate About You. Just a classic 90s movie, really. Love Heath Ledger. Great movie.
Yep, no, you're going back a bit there. That's good. Okay, number 1, Paris Tatter's top movie. Her top go-to movie is...
The Harry Potter series. So all 8 Harry Potter films. I'm a massive Harry Potter fan. Have been since day one. All the books, all the movies. Could probably recite them all for you. Definitely great movies to watch in ISO.
That's a fun fact I didn't know. So just assume you're going to get some rubbish on that one in the coming months. I'll be bringing that up for netball training. Okay. I'm assuming with the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, what's been most frustrating or the hardest thing that you've had to overcome?
Probably just fitness-wise. Like netball is such a team sport and you're constantly around other people and everyone else. So just exercising sort of on your own or just with one other person just isn't the same as netball training. So it's probably been the hardest thing for me is motivating myself to get up out of bed and go for a run or do some exercise, because when you're with netball, like you have your whole team with you, but it's so different being on your own to motivate yourself because the team really pulls you along and drag it with you because there's 7 of you.
Yes, team sports, yeah, absolutely. With that, hardest thing is trying to motivate yourself. You know, I do it every day. I try it every day to try and motivate myself to be active. Away from the sporting field, what jobs have you had?
So my first job when I was 14, 15, I worked at Extra Fresh Bakery on Centre Road, and I loved that job. I worked there for 4 years. It was great. I got free bread, free cake, free sweets, pretty much making my family fat for 4 years. They probably hated me for it or loved it, who knows. And then in maybe 2017, I think it was, I left the bakery. I just sort of grew out of the job. It was a great first job, and I moved on to Cotton On, which I'm now putting clothes on my family's back because I get cheap clothes there. So I was feeding them, and now I'm clothing them. So,
yes. So you were you're the breadwinner, and now you're the clothing person. So okay, you started out as a shooter, and I remember in the old days, in the younger days, back in 13s and 11s, 13s, 15s, when we played against you, you were primarily a shooter, and then sometimes popped down to the defensive end, and then now more recently you've moved into defence permanently. Why the shift?
Yeah, so when I was younger, like way back in meta, I would always be tossed around between goaling or defence, and then just sort of it panned out in my juniors that I was just always playing goals. And I didn't mind it. I loved it. It was really good back then. I was a goaler all through rep as well. But then as I got a bit older and the games got more serious, more competitive, the level I was playing at was starting to get higher, bowling, I just found so much more pressure on. So when you're shooting, I just felt like the team was relying on me to get the goal in, and like they are. So I have so much respect for goalers because, they do have to get the ball in the ring to win the game. So I just personally wasn't up to that pressure at the higher levels anymore. So I switched to defence, and I loved it. I absolutely love it. I knew what I was doing because I knew as a goaler what I didn't like to apply that to defence. And yeah, I prefer now beating up players than getting beat up, I guess, as a goaler.
Yeah, no, it does take a special mindset at each end of the court, a discipline. So you're lucky enough you can actually go at both ends if you need to, which is probably rare in this day of netball. But with you talking about going into defence, that's actually been a bit of a catalyst for you to move up and progress through the ranks from domestic to into the rep, but more so from rep into the Victorian Netball League. Do you take us through your first selection into the Victorian Netball League level?
Yeah, so I originally trialled when I was in year 12 and I got in. I was just in the development squad as a training partner. I think I only got like 2 games of court time or something. Then I retrialled the following year and didn't get in, and that's when I sort of started evaluating my netball pathway career and was like, okay, I'm switching to defence now. So I made the switch to defence, and then I started playing footy netball at Murrumbina, which was incredible because I just had a really good year that season, and I really took to footy netball. It was so much fun. And then I thought, why not? I'll try out for VNL one more time. And I got into the Div 1 team. Had a really good year last year, but trials are hard. So I didn't know whether I was going to get in the following year because you've got the best players from around the state trialing. So there's only 10 teams in the VNL and they all want a spot in it. So I'm really fortunate and lucky to be a part of the VNL system.
Yeah, no, absolutely. With the progression from domestic then to representative and then to the VNL, what are the challenges that you face between those different levels of the game?
Oh, yeah. So with domestic, you've got all sorts of like your local players and you know everyone. Rep, like the higher up you go, depending the team you're playing on, that's also really competitive as well. Like there are some amazing rep players out there. And a lot of rep players go straight to VNL as well. That's what I did. I didn't do any state titles or any of that in the middle. Went straight from rep to VNL. That was my netball pathway.
Yep.
And then VNL is just another level altogether from rep. It's the best people like in the state in these 10 teams. fighting it out for court time. They want their spot in the team, and the VNL atmosphere is just incredible. You're playing in big stadiums. You have so many supporters come to watch. There's heaps of sponsors involved. VNL netball is like incredible. I love it.
Yes, no, absolutely. We're talking to local netball star, Victorian Netball League Division 1 player Paris Tatter. Now we come to the injuries. You've had your share over the journey so far. Just enlighten us on a few of those.
Yeah, so I definitely have had my fair share of injuries. So most of my injuries haven't even come from netball, to be honest. My very first injury was I was out for 8 weeks, and it was in year 6 because I was playing poison balls in year 6, and I put all my weight on one side trying to dodge a ball, and there you go, 8-week injury. I've repeatedly done that ankle twice, and it's caused me like heaps of problems. I've done my hamstring, my quad. Recently, I've done a stress fracture in my tibia, which put me out for quite a while. I was in a moon boot. But my biggest thing with injuries is that I continue to play even though I'm injured, or I try and come back too early because I just don't want to miss out. And so my suggestion to anyone listening is to be stop and just think and take the time out of you mentally and physically need to heal for you to come back in the game.
Yes, recuperate correctly. At the start of 2018, I was lucky enough to be approached by Maribyrnong Football Netball Club to re-inject some life into their netball program, and probably one of the first people I rang and approached was yourself to come to the team and have a look at the football netball at Southern Footy League. Could you take us through that first season?
Oh, yeah. So I was super excited. So Chris, you called me up in December, I think it was, and said, hey, we've got Maribyrnong Footy Netball. I had no idea what Footy Netball League was, but I was super excited to be a part of it. I was down for it. It was more netball. We had a long pre-season and we recruited these incredible players, and I was so excited to be a part of it. And then the first game, I remember I woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I had my dress on because I just wanted to play because it had been such a long pre-season, and it got washed out.
Yes.
I was so gutted. But our season as a whole, we had a lot of injuries. We were very up and down, but we had a great first season. We finished third on the ladder overall. We made it to the preliminary final, but we got knocked out, unfortunately. We had players coming in and out all season. We beat the team that won the flag during the season, and we were the only ones to do that. So that was a pretty good accomplishment in our first year. And the club as a whole had a great first year, like Maribyrnong Netball. We had 3 teams that year, and we all did really well, including the flag for your team. So it's great.
No, it was brilliant. And like I said, it was I hadn't coached you before, and that was one of my highlights to actually coach yourself and having you part of the team to be a leader. And that actually catapulted us into 2019. And I stepped down as coach. Your dad stepped into my place to coach your team, and it was a very successful year, I think, just on the piggybacking on the 2018, and especially for you on an individual level. You were named Maribyrnong Football Netball Club captain. You also won your back-to-back best and fairest for the club, and we played another round of Southern Footy Netball League finals. We had a finals campaign, and you also were getting more court time, or you had your first season in VNL Division 1 competition, if I can remember.
Yeah, big year. So, 2019, so you weren't our coach that year. I really enjoyed 2018 with you being our coach, actually, because I'd never coached under you before, and I'm super excited for you to be our coach, so I absolutely love that. But you do enough, Chris, so thanks for stepping down on that one.
Yep.
We had a great season. We, again, were really injury-struck. It just happens in netball. Especially our team had a few older girls in it, so the older you get, the more your body gives up on you. We finished fourth. We made it to the first final. We did really well. The club as a whole, again, we introduced a fourth team. Every team made finals, which is phenomenal, and 3 of the 4 made the grand final, which is an even better result. So that was super good.
It was, like I said, it was a really good stepping stone, 2018 to 2019 for the club. But I think the success is just down to the personnel, the players. I think that's where we recruited well, and we recruited the right type of player and the right type of people, and just it was a great season. So it was very, very successful, but I think it's more so the success in 2009. It was your leadership as well through the season and just showing the way. And I think a lot of girls learnt a lot about how to handle themselves on and off the court. We're actually talking to local netball star, Victorian Netball League Division 1 player, Paris Tatter. 5 questions, 1 word. You ready for this, Paris? Number 1, what the first one is your favourite food?
Chocolate. I don't know if it's a food, but chocolate.
No, I think some people like to live on that. Your worst household chore?
Oh, vacuuming.
I don't think that's anyone's favourite one. Your favourite TV show?
How I Met Your Mother.
And number 4 is netball for you in 1 word.
Probably fun.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I think you got to make sure you're having fun playing. You'll last a long time in a game. And number 5, what irritates you the most?
Okay, 2 words. Slow walkers.
I have to agree with that. That's something that irritates me at no end. At the moment, you're studying at uni. What are you studying at the moment?
So I'm in my 4th year, my final year of a Bachelor of Teaching and Exercise Science. I'm doing that at ACU. It's really good. I'm loving it. So hopefully I'll get to do, if Corona goes away or whatever, my second half of the year I'll do my placement. But it's really good because it's heaps of exercise, nutrition. So the end goal is to be a PE teacher with it.
No doubt you'll succeed in that with as you do with all your things you put your mind to. So how far would you like to go, like to take your netball?
I just want to take my netball as it comes. I've never really set myself too many goals with it, but at this point I'd probably like to keep playing VNL, so keep up my fitness base and my level that I'm playing at to keep on continuing getting into a VNL team, whether that be Southern Saints or another team. But that's all I really have in terms of future. So I'm only 21, so hopefully can do that for the next few years. Yeah,
so in the next 5 years, is that what you're aiming at, to try and move up to championship level?
I'm quite happy playing at Division 1 at the moment, but if that's where my pathway took me at, then I'd love to play at championship level if my skills and age allowed me to do so. Yeah, that would be great.
No, I have no doubt that you'll make that because of your work ethic and just the way you approach the game and the person you are. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today. And I know as a coach and have coached you and coached against you and just in general, knowing you've made myself a better coach, just coaching you and coaching against you. And I'd like to just say a huge thank you to our guest, Victorian Netball League Division 1 player, Maribyrnong Football Netball Club dual best and fairest winner and club captain, Paris Tatter. Thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Chris. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks so much. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us this week on The Catalyst. This is The Catalyst and I am Christopher Dent. The Catalyst is a podcast which highlights forward-thinking, community-minded people and organisations. Please like and follow us on Facebook at The Catalyst. If you'd like to share some feedback, please email us on thecatalyst@outlook.com.au. This is a CanDo digital production house presentation. See you next time.